So the speech is, what is leadership? And here's my speech. So Isaac Newton once said, if I have seen further than others, it is because I have stood on the shoulders of giants. And it's giants like Dr. Martin Luther King, Gandhi, and President Barack Obama, whose leadership continues to inspire us to this day. However, let us never forget the everyday leaders that we meet on the daily basis, the ones who unfortunately will never make it into the textbook. These leaders are my father, my mother, and my teacher. I have come to understand in my lifetime, in my experience, in my philosophy, that leadership embodies three main qualities: passion, the power to inspire, and character. And the three individuals that I have met that have embodied these qualities are my father, my mother, and my teacher. My father is a believer in peace. And so during the Vietnam War, he had to make a decision that ultimately changed his life. The decision of staying and fighting for a war that he did not believe in, or coming to America and starting a new life in the land of opportunity. My father made the decision to pioneer a new family, to have a generation that was not war-stricken or had to worry about the land that they were living on. This ultimately started my family and my generation here in America. On his voyage across sea, his ship was struck with misfortune, where the engine had caught fire, set the whole boat ablaze. And so he fought as long as he could to save the ship, leaving scars on his hands and back. As smoke filled his lungs, he did all that he could to save as many women and children as possible. Among those women and children were my mother and my two older brothers. They waited in the Pacific Ocean for 3 days, waiting and waiting for help, until one day his prayers were answered when a helicopter came from the nearby Filipino islands to rescue them. They were saved. Years later, when I was born, my father always told me that your character will always be tested when you least expect it. His test came in the shape of a boat. My mother inspires me every day. She is the reason why I do things. She is the reason why I wake up in the morning and go to bed with an accomplishment in my heart. My mother, when she came to America, was learning to assimilate to the cultures and values of the American custom. But it was very difficult for her because she suffered an English language barrier. And so, if you can imagine what it must feel like to have the simplest task of going shopping, reading a book, be your hardest obstacle, then you would have known what it was like to be my mother. Every day she would look for a job to support her growing family of 8. And so at a young age, I understood that my mom would not always be there to pull out every loose tooth. And my mom would not always be there to scare away the monsters underneath my bed, because she was scaring away the real monsters, the ones who would take away your electricity, or the ones who would leave a dinner table empty when we were hungry. The sacrifices that she had made for me are what burned my passion to continue to make decisions that not only better myself, but her and my family and those around me. My mother is my passion. And last but definitely not least was my teacher, Miss Jennifer Dunn, who always told me that if you are passionate about what you do and what you work at, you'll never work a day in your life. I went to Franklin High School in South Seattle. School starts at 8 o'clock. However, she is there at 6:30. School ends at 2:30, but she is there until 8 o'clock p.m. every day, ready and willing and waiting to answer any of your questions with one exception. Challenge that idea and use it to better the lives of others. She always reminds me of this quote. Teachers are like candles, willing to burn themselves out in order to light the way for others. Always and forever, when I continue to think about the things that I want to do to accomplish my goals, I think about the passion that she brought every day into the classroom. And with her flame, she lit mine. And so if you were to ask me what leadership means to me, it is character, it is passion, and the power to inspire. And if it seems that I see farther than others, it is because I stood on the shoulders of my father, my mother,